Welcome everybody. My name is Connie Rose, and I am a platinum leader with Solex, and it is my joy and pleasure to be with you guys tonight. And I'm going to start with a little story about why we even have this training. Several of us on here were in Utah at what was the name of the resort, Wendy?
Sundance.
Thank you. At the Sundance Resort outside of Salt Lake City a few weeks ago. And Shelby, who is our VP of Field Development, who's amazing, encouraged us to be sharing our stories more and also encouraged us to do a training for our team for that. As God would have it, God is always taking the best care of me and giving me exactly what I need when I need it. And so I had already started crafting some things. And then I don't know if you guys are familiar with Mind Valley. I get their emails and I sign up for their courses every now and then. And I got like this is honest to God truth. So I'm starting to create this training and I get this email and it talks about the transformational training using S.P.E.A.K. And S.P.E.A.K is the acronym. And I'm going to go over it in a minute. It was this whole training on how we could use this framework. And I have a master's degree in education, so I love to teach and train. And so when that came out, I'm like, oh, this is going to be so easy, and it just flowed. And several hours later, here we have it, and here we are. So I extended the invitation to my fellow Solex leaders and their team. So it's so great to see some other people on this Zoom tonight. So let me share my screen. So let me tell you how it's going to go. Oh, I guess it would help if I actually. Now it won't let me out of the thing. Here we go. Share. Okay. Are you guys seeing my screen?
We are now.
Okay. And it it is presentation mode. Everybody can see that now.
Yes.
Thank you, Wendy. Um, so I'm just going to go through these slides, and then I also will be putting in the chat. I prepared a handout with this information and your homework. As a teacher, some habits die hard. As a coach, I'm always giving my clients homework. So take it or leave it. Here we go. So build your story, transformational training using S.P.E.A.K. So our goal is returning, like we all have a story of why we're here and how we found Solex. And we're really wanting to enroll and inspire, expand our impact with as much clarity as we can while retaining our heart-centered structure because this we're here because we love Solex and we love what these tools have done for our life, right? So I just thought this was the great structure for fulfillment for that. So the purpose of the training is to empower everyone on our team to turn their personal experiences into soul-stirring stories that enroll, inspire, expand their impact with clarity, structure. Each story does make a difference. So starting tomorrow night, Lachelle, who was at the leadership retreat, she had this brilliant idea and we're starting that tomorrow night at 7:30 Central, where the leaders in the Solex are going to be coming on for about 20 or 30 minutes and sharing their story um, about Solex and some of the tools that we have. So we're going to be having this library that we're going to be compiling of some of the top leaders, their stories. And my request is that every story makes a difference. So I want everybody on here and all of your teams, like, write your story because we need to hear it. We need to hear from everybody, not just the people who are, leading in the front. We need every story is important because you just never know who that story is going to touch and how that can relate to somebody. So that's why we're doing this. So what is SPEAK? So SPEAK is this acronym that stands for story, principle, evidence, application, and the knockout close. 5 simple moves, 1 transformational flow, 0 fluff. This isn't just storytelling, it's soul telling. So I'm going to go through each of these areas, and I'm going to give you like the generic overview of what each point is. And then I'm going to make it specific to Solex, and then you're going to get a little assignment for each area. So the story is really where it's the heart opener. And why does this even matter? Well, here's the deal. The way our brains are actually hardwired, those stories draw us in. So it'll hijack the brain's attention circuits before the rational mind can stop it. And that's so I use my story. I have a new presentation I do for Solex, and I started it with my new story a couple weeks ago. And the feedback that I got was that people were more engaged. People really they heard the rest of my presentation differently because it was through the lens of my story and what the difference it made for them. So, how do you do that? Well, you want to choose an antidote or like a story that like you're just the basics of what happened, and I'll talk to you about like some tools that you could use to help you craft it. But we don't want to just narrate the story, we want to dramatize it. So again, how the brain, so many of you know I'm a NLP master coach and trainer. NLP stands for neuro linguistic programming, and one of the things that we know is that the unconscious mind is stimulated by including the senses. That's our neurology. So it's like you want to bring in sounds, like what are you hearing? What are you smelling? What are you like feeling? So don't be afraid to bring in emotion. Don't be afraid to bring in like what it was like what your experience was like. You're going to draw people in more and get them like give them an experience of is going on in your own neurology. So some questions you might want to ask to uncover your own story is what was your lowest moment before you found Solex? That Solex answered that problem for you. It could be where were you emotionally? It could be where were you physically? It could be where were you, spiritually or mentally? And what specific event changed the course of your story? So the whole point is to grab people's attention. It bypasses the logic part of our brain, and it speaks directly to the emotion. It speaks directly to your heart. So you want to write it out as if you're painting a movie scene. So and include any anecdotes. You could borrow them even because it doesn't matter. You just want to make it as vivid as possible. So here's a prompt. Again, what was your lowest moment? What pain were you navigating? And it could be also pain were you navigating financially. So I know that there's a lot of us on here that are being blessed with Solex's compensation structure. And I know it's made a huge difference for me in my finances. I don't talk about that in my story yet. Maybe I need to add that in there. There's just so many different ways Solex has impacted us. And the goal is to hook the audience. You want them to feel the before, right? So the tip is use 5 senses, make it visceral, start at the emotional peak. Now, the next letter is P, which is the principle, which why does that matter? It's the core truth. So once you've lit that emotional spark, your audience is craving meaning at this point. The principle is distilled insight that they are going to carry back with them. So how you do that, the principle is just like a quick little line. It's boil your takeaway in a one crisp line, make it spicy enough that it begs to be shared. Might want to ask yourself, what did I learn in that moment? What truth do I want others to take away? This is your golden aha line. So just think in bumper stickers or Instagram captions. I love that. So here's some prompts. You want to name the breakthrough. What is the one truth your experience taught you? And the goal is to distill your message into just this like one little, like you just like, they say mic drop. This is the first mic drop. So some goals, some examples might be when energy shifts, everything changes. And again, it's also how you tell the story, like with the emotion and the pauses. It might be something like healing doesn't require hustle. It just needs alignment. Or maybe the frequency you choose creates the future you live. These just little one line things that and feel free to take one of these suggestions. Okay, the next letter is E, evidence, build belief. So inspiration without proof feels like empty hype. So evidence builds the bridge between that's cool and I actually believe you. So how do you do it? We're going to mix three flavors of proof. We're going to have a data point, a case snippet, um, and or a metaphor. Okay. So generically, like if you were doing a presentation and you said Stanford neuroscience has found that completing tiny tasks triggers a dopamine hit that fuels motivation. Like that's a statistic that can, lead towards your case. And I'm going to go through some regarding Solex or a demo. Like you're going to actually give your client a tangible result in the moment. And we're going to work through a little exercise in just a second. Or it's a metaphor. Um, that first sentence is the spark that lights your entire creative bonfire. So it's all about building belief. Okay, so you might want to ask yourself, here's what changed after you started using the AO scan or even one of our Solex tools. The other night we had our monthly Q&A call where we brought our favorite tool and we shared, and it was wonderful because I know there's people, that were on the call that, they love the AO scan, but man, they're in love with the wand. And, or they're in, like, I am loving the new infrared AO mask. Um, Now, they'll never replace the scanner, and it's just a fun extra thing. So your story doesn't necessarily have to be about the AO scan. You could you could say what changed after the tools. Maybe one of the tools made a difference. You could also ask what result did my clients get? For those building a business, you're doing demos out there, right? And you share one of the results that your clients got. What's a metaphor that would explain this? And is there any study that supports what I experienced? So it moves your story from emotional to undeniable. So the goal is to write 2 to 3 of the following proof types, just is to validate your journey. So the demo can be your lived transformation. Like for myself, I had weight loss, reduced pain, better sleep, emotional regulation. It could be your lived experience. And again, paint the picture symbolically. So some example framework was, where were you before? Like for me, I couldn't walk without pain. During, I used erase and mind sync. After, I'm now walking and lifting weights and I've released 100 pounds. So just want to keep it simple. So then we have the application part of it, which is kind of like it's connected to the demo. So why does that matter? Because knowledge alone is pointless. Action is what cements the transformation. So we're gonna walk through this together right now. You want to just give them a little bite-sized exercise that people could try instantly. No heavy thinking, just momentum. Okay, so this is the one I have in my story. So we're gonna do this. It's just gonna take a couple minutes. So close your eyes and bring awareness to one emotion that feels heavy or stuck or draining. It might be stress, grief, anger, or fear. No judgment, just be honest with yourself. Now, notice where that feeling lives in your body. Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach or throat? Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, I want you to hum gently. Let the vibration move into the part of your body holding the emotion. So we're going to fast forward this part. You're going to do that for 60 seconds. You could try it when we're done with the call. Slow, gentle, and intentional. Because humming activates your vagus nerve. There's emotional static and shifts your frequency. And then you want to pause. Breathe. What's different? What new feeling is emerging? You could write it down or just simply name it. Peace, softness, openness, calm, clarity. This is your emotional frequency realigning in real time. So how cool is this? The AO scanner's inner voice technology does the same emotional tuning, but with even more precision. It identifies the top three suppressed emotions in your biofield and plays custom balancing tones designed to clear them energetically, like sound therapy, custom made just for you. It's not just a tool, it's a tuning fork for your soul. So some other ideas might be like a body awareness check-in and then make a comparison to what the scanner can do. Or maybe it's affirmations. I as an NLP coach, we talk about affirmations a lot. And our MindSync technology is like this incredible biohack to rewire the brain because it puts you instantly in the theta. So, it's one thing to say these affirmations without our software. And I call this the itty bitty, another word that rhymes with that, starts with an SH, committee. And that committee,
Well, shitty committee.
yeah, when we're not doing that without MindSync, our little committee can weigh in and say, that's not true. However, with the MindSync technology, it goes straight, it bypasses that committee and goes straight to the unconscious mind to rewire it there. So you might want to use a MindSync example, or like just about, like I said, just generating feelings and lead people into the Cephi part of the software. So we're not just teaching here, we're transferring the information and we're making it actionable, making it real. So the prompt for your homework is, what micro experience could your audience try right now to start to feel that shift? And you want to give a 30-second to 2-minute practice using Solex tools or frequency visualization. And then there's some examples. Close your eyes, breathe into your heart, imagine broadcasting the frequency of safety into your nervous system. Because here's the thing. I think that I look at our software like training wheels. I know that humanity is going to be able to do what we're doing, and some of us can already do that without the software. And I look at our software as like training wheels to get us to where that is going to be. The software just makes it a lot easier and convenient. Um, so like we can do this without the software. But the whole point is like give them a taste of that experience and then let them know like how much more expanded it is when we have the software. And you really want them to have a visceral experience. Let them feel the shift, not just hear about it. So the K stands for knockout close. Leave a legacy line. This is again one of those like mic drop moments. So your final lines are what echo in people's minds and what they're going to quote. You want to circle back to your story or principle, and then you want to elevate. You want to use a bold challenge, a poetic image, or a vision that will stay with them. So here's one example. You're one vibration away from clarity, one tone away from balance, one scan away from harmony. This isn't just healing, it's remembering who you really are. And so, you're ending with a call to rise, a poetic image, a truth bomb. And if they'll remember only one thing, and they always remember the last thing that you say, this is it. This is it. So the prompt is, what is your most empowering, inspiring, or soul deep truth that you want to leave them with? You want to end with power. It's not a pitch. Speak to their possibility. So
My
we're
God,
bringing,
what the fuck, you piece of shit.
oh, Jess, we're going to mute you.
Sorry.
Okay. I'm going to start with number 2 again, the goal. End with power, not pitch. Speak to their possibility. This is where you're going from sharing your story and transferring the momentum and the energy into their world. So we're elevating their energy. So some examples are you're not broken, you're recalibrating, or your future self is already thanking you for saying yes to frequency. The one that I use is if this saved my life, imagine what it could unlock in yours. So putting it all together. So we start with the emotional story. That's the before. The core principle is the truth. Number 3 is the evidence, which is the shift. Then we go into the application, like try it now. And then we end with the knockout close, the mic drop, second mic drop moment. So now this is the time where you're going to start thinking about building your own story. And again, I'm going to put the this document in the chat when I'm done with the whole presentation so that you could have that. And you're going to start with writing 5 to 7 sentences with vivid detail. Like show us the moment. Then your core principle, what truth did you uncover? Make it punchy. That's that, bumper sticker, right? What's the evidence? You could, you know, anybody who knows me much at all knows how much I am into AI. And I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna give you a prompt too to use this. But you can look up, some data about it, a demo, a metaphor. And then the application, what can you do for your audience right now so that they feel a shift? And then the knockout close is circle back and end with fire. That's the thing that they're going to last echo in their mind. So, and then here's our bonus tips. Once you have this done, record a reel. Capture your story as a 90-second video. 60 seconds is even better because then you can have the whole thing on stories on Facebook, and share on social media. Also, this is what you can do to open your presentation. I have it, my story in a 60-second version, and I also have it in a 3 or 4 minute version, depending on what I'm using it for. And I used AI so what I'm going to recommend is do the whole story first. And once when you're happy with the whole story, then you can always feed that into AI and say, make this 60 seconds. Create content, post your speak story as a carousel, or if you have an email list. And then and I just changed mine yesterday, literally getting ready for this presentation. Revisit and refine your story as you grow. Let your story be the strategy that moves hearts, bodies, and belief systems. So here's the prompt, and I'll put this in the chat also. Recreate the following story in the speak format. Introducing S.P.E.A.K. Story, spark attention with a vivid anecdote that hooks them emotionally. So it says recreate the following story. So what you're going to do is you're going to write your story, and then you're going to put that into AI along with this prompt. So when it says recreate the following story, that's your story, right? Okay. And then you're going to put the prompt in, and then it says the story, spark attention with a vivid anecdote that hooks them emotionally. Unpack each step with a vivid description, proof, and the generic example readers can adapt. Weave the narrative in my own voice. So that was for me. If you want to do a different kind of a voice, I have casual, witty, yet profound. Then I have principle. Crystallize the lesson into a golden aha. Evidence. Satisfy skeptics with proof tight enough to hold. A is application. Turn theory into action with a micro experience. K, knockout close. Deliver an encore that lingers, challenges, and expires. So the story that I had, and this is what I put into AI. And I'm going to show you the before, and then I'm going to show you what I did, how I teased it out with AI afterwards. So when I was introduced to the Solex software, my only child had just passed of a massive heart attack 5 months prior. I wasn't doing well. I didn't want to be here, and I ended up in a wheelchair because there was so much pain in my body that I could not walk. A friend of mine introduced me to the AO scan during its beta testing period, and this software literally saved my life. The inner voice software helped me process and erase my grief. Using the erase feature and some pain relieving frequencies, I was able to get out of my wheelchair and make my way back into the gym, where I've released over 100 pounds using frequencies and regained my muscle mass. I'll forever be grateful to Solex. This software saved my life. Now that has been my story. For those of you who've known me for a while, you've heard that story. That's my story. And it has the key evidence, right? However, I'm going to read to you my story now that I've put it in the speak format and added some of these other elements. So I asked it for a title. It says From Darkness to Light, My Frequency Healing Journey. A personal testimony of how frequency wellness helped me overcome devastating grief, physical disability, and find my way back to life after the loss of my only child. 5 months. So this is not the whole story, but I'm going to tell the story and I have some slides. 5 months after my only child passed away from a sudden heart attack, I found myself in the darkest place I'd ever known. The grief was unbearable. I didn't want to be here anymore. And the pain, it wasn't just emotional, it anchored itself in my body. The pain rooted itself so deeply, I ended up in a wheelchair. I couldn't walk. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't imagine a way forward. Nothing worked. Not therapy, not medication. And then a friend reached out and said, "Hey, there's this frequency wellness software in beta testing. Just try it." I didn't have the strength to believe that it would help. However, I had just enough strength to say yes. What happened next changed everything. I didn't expect a miracle, yet that's exactly what I got. That invitation became my lifeline. The AO scan met me where I was, broken, hurting, disconnected, and gently helped me back home to myself. With every inner voice session, I released a little more of my grief that had become locked into my cells. The erase function and pain relief frequency slowly made it bearable to stand, then walk, then work out again. I began to reclaim my body. One step, one scan, one miracle at a time. I walked out of that wheelchair and into the gym. I began to rebuild not just my body, but my beliefs. And I released over 100 pounds physically and energetically. This software didn't just help me heal, it saved my life. When energy shifts, everything changes. You don't have to fight your way forward. You just have to find the frequency of healing and wholeness and align. Emotions do not just live in the heart, they live in the body. Clinical studies show that frequency therapy and sound healing can regulate the nervous system, ease pain, and improve emotional processing. For me, inner voice gave me back my will to live. Erase gave me back my legs, and frequencies gave me back my power. The AO scan wasn't just helpful, it was life-saving. Healing with frequencies is like tuning an orchestra that's been playing out of sync. At first, there's just noise, but one by one, the instruments align, and suddenly there's music again. Beautiful, soul-soothing music. So let's try this now. Close your eyes and bring awareness to one emotion that feels heavy, stuck, or draining. It might be stress, grief, anger, or fear. No judgment, just honesty. Now notice where that feeling lives in your body. Is it your chest, stomach, or throat? Now take a deep breath in, and on your exhale, hum gently. Let the vibration move into the part of your body holding the emotion. Do this for 60 seconds. Slow, gentle, and intentional. Humming activates your vagus nerve, clears emotional static, and shifts your frequency. Now pause. Breathe. What's different? What new feeling is emerging? Write it down or just simply name it. Peace, softness, openness, calm, clarity. This is your emotional frequency realigning in real time. The AO Scan's inner voice technology does the same emotional tuning, but with even more precision. It identifies the top suppressed emotions in your biofield and plays custom balancing tones designed to clear them energetically. Sound therapy custom made just for you. It's not just a tool, it's a tuning fork for your soul. Even 1 minute of broadcasting intentional frequencies changes everything. That's the power of energy medicine. I was grieving my only child, trapped in pain and tied to a chair. Now I walk with strength, speak with hope, and move with purpose. If frequency could bring me back from the brink, then imagine what it could do for you. What could it shift if you tuned into your divine frequency? Because of Solex, I came back to life. So if you're hurting, stuck, or silently screaming for something more, know this. You don't have to do it alone. You're not broken. You're just out of tune. The frequency of healing is real and it's waiting for you. So when I talk about frequency, it's not theory, it's truth. And I'm here to show you it's possible. Tune in, trust the process, and welcome to your comeback. So you could hear the difference in the two stories. And so I'm gonna in the chat, I'm gonna put the link for the PDF and the link for the prompt. The other thing I wanted to show you is this resource. I actually got to hear Kendra Hall speak. I don't know if you've heard of her. She has a book called Stories That Stick, and she is amazing. It's filled with all kinds of really great stories. So it's how storytelling can captivate customers, influence audiences, and transform your business. Stories That Stick, Kendra Hall.
Connie, I
Highly,
want to let you know Steve raised his hand.
oh yeah, please.
Yeah, just a quick question. I mean, that was amazing. My only question is, how would you apply, like, okay, you create a story like that. How would you apply that? I mean, I guess I'm trying to figure out how to operationalize that in terms of getting that story out to people. You got any insight into that? Thank you.
Yeah. So this is where I tell my story. I mean, I tell my story all the time. When I am introducing Solex to people, they're like, well, what do you do? What is that? And then I whip out my story. And now I have a more refined, more emotionally grabbing, more participant, like you got to participate in my story, not just listen to it. You know, my goal is that it activated something within you, that it wasn't just a do to me, it was do with me kind of an experience. So we could do this from just like you meet people all the time. That's why you want to have different versions. So once you have your long version, then you could go back into AI and say, now make this 60 seconds, make this, 30 seconds. So that you just have that at the ready. And like I said, you could use it in social media. You could use it when you're just meeting people. You could use it when you're doing the presentation in front of the room, right? So that's what I would say.
Cool. Thanks, Connie.
Yeah, great question. Does anybody else have any other questions? Well, that was easy.
I guess I was going to ask too. Are you gonna put are you gonna hang the PowerPoint in our Telegram so we can get at it?
Yeah, I could put it in the team telegram.
Okay. Thanks.
I don't have it loaded up in boards yet. So for my team, I have the PDF file that I just posted in the chat and the AI prompt in our team board. And it is under the business building folder. And within the business building folder, we have Zoom recordings of our Zooms. And then within that, I have a folder just for this crafting story training. So I'll make the PowerPoint into a PDF file so that you guys could have it there too. So how many people here are already using their stories and what kind of results are you getting?
Well, I kind of have an elevator speech. I mean, Amy rolls her eyes every time we're out somewhere because every chance I get, I'm like talking about frequencies. I don't have it quite the way you have it structured, but I kind of tell the story of how the scanner works and how I kind of got sucked into it a little bit, but you put it in
You
a
got
much more
sucked into it.
yeah, Chief shanghaied me. But no, I mean, I always tell people I backed into doing this stuff. I didn't know anything about it, but no, I think you've given us a nice structure to kind of structure a little bit more cogently, as to talk to people. But I was just curious how you would take that story. I guess I'll come up with a shorter one, just have it memorized so I can kind of spin it off the top of my head.
So I'd love to hear can you share your elevator pitch?
Yeah, well, so my quick pitch is what I did was I always tell people my sponsor was on a podcast and had talked. She was just asking him chit chat, "Hey, what have you been up to?" And he said, "Well, I heal people with frequencies and I do free frequencies." Well, I always tell people as a veteran, a combat veteran, I had a lot of chronic pain, and I'm always looking out for the next modality. And about 5 years ago, I had seen where I'd listened to a podcast where a woman talked about healing different maladies with frequencies. So I already kind of had it in my consciousness. So when I heard my talk about that, I said, "Hey, I want to try and get that." So I reached out to him, and a week later he called me and said, "Hey, I want you to join my team." And I was like, "Okay, what's that mean?" I've always had my heart to help people, but I signed up with him, and then I started. He had like over 900 people sign up, and he started funneling me people, and I started doing remote healing sessions after a couple training sessions. So that's kind of my initials, how I do my spiel about how I got into this, but then I go into AO scan and what it can do for you. And what I've seen it do, I've done over 92 remote sessions now. I've seen a ton of amazing stuff. So I kind of do a few of those minor testimonials, like a woman was legally blind and restored her eyesight, things like that. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. Well, and I want to call to mind everybody that we have a couple resources. Solex, we have this Facebook group that has great testimonials in there. So it's not just about sharing your story, it's also sharing other people's stories too. So like you can see those stories. And then Wendy created a Solex testimonial Telegram group. And that has been, amazing to see, as our team feeds into those resources. So there's never a shortage. And do you see how the difference, how you all have heard my story for the last almost 5 years. I think that the difference pulls people in with this format. Again, like I can't take credit for it. It was Mind Valley. I was just so like literally I was working on it, and then like it was like the clouds parted and it came in my email address, and I was like, thank you, Mind Valley. And so anyway, that's why I just had to share. So and because I think it made a difference. It feels different to me. It feels different delivering it. Oh, thanks, Wendy, for posting the Telegram group.
Yeah, that is public, so anybody's welcome to go there and you can send people there.
And my request from the other leaders that are on here from the retreat is, join and add some of your own testimonials. Like we'd love to hear those as well.
Well, Connie, I just want to say thank you. I think that is powerful because I have a real struggle with structure. So my story is not structured, it's not organized in a powerful way. And I really appreciate the way that you have laid this out because I think that's going to help a lot of people put things in a powerful way to share.
Well, and I will tell you, like, as much as I love AI, I started with my little story, and then I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and each thing would inspire other things. And so it was like, this was
Mhm.
not just like one and done. It was like, oh, how else can I say this? Is what I would ask. Like, I like this, but how can we finesse this? Or how about this? So, with AI, what I've learned is they call it the 10-80-10 principle. So 10% is the prompt and the work that you do ahead of time. And then the 80% is like that heavy lifting in the middle. And then don't forget the 10% at the end where you make it yours and put it in your voice. So, I just want to recommend make sure that you finesse all of that too. Because, you don't have to just take what they say. So, any other questions?
Connie, is there any paperwork that goes with this?
Yeah, so I put that in the chat. There's a PDF.
Oh, right up here. Okay, I see. Sorry
Yeah,
about
there's a
that.
PDF file that kind of walks
Yeah.
through again. It's each principle, like a big idea, then more like with Solex's, and then like the action items, like what to do for each step. And then that'll give you, and most of you should already have you kind of have your story anyway, and you could just put your story in with the prompt with AI and see what it comes up with. Um, you know, yeah. So Jess, you have a question?
This
So,
is Chet. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
sorry.
My name isn't
Um,
Jess, so
my question is like though when you talk about the AI companion, so I've had a couple of posts on my Facebook that people are um what do I want to say in a nice way, kind of judging those, I guess. People are saying that a lot of things that are being posted are made up.
So, what's the question?
My question is I mean I like to use it too. It helps me kind of boost what I say. My question is like how do I get around that part because it's making me a big procrastinator. I want to know how I get past people being judgmental of an app.
So I have three suggestions. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. One, I would do a mind sync around it
Okay.
because other people's opinions of you, are you ready for this, Jess? Other people's
Yep.
opinions of you, none of your business. I remember the first time I had a business coach tell me that, and it changed everything. So their opinions, they're not your tribe. Who cares? They're not your tribe. They're not yours.
Okay.
So I would work on MindSync. If it was me, I would recommend MindSync. And then I would also like spend some time finessing that. If it's not in your voice, then, like I said, it's like this 10-80-10 is what I've been. So I've taken courses in AI because I love it so much. And I can't tell you, I don't think I've ever just taken the first like whatever it says. I don't do that. I finesse it and like make it more like this or make it more like that. Um and I do use it a whole lot. I think that it's there's people have opinions about it, and again, their opinions is not I don't care. Like it is, so I would say use MindSync, finesse the AI so that it does sound more like you.
Okay.
And um and then also create a Cepheid list for the frequencies because like we really do have like I love that we have all these tools at our disposal because when we do go to do something and get stopped, you can scan and optimize, which we got to that's number one rule, like clear your aura, shield your aura, do the grounding, then scan and optimize so you're just kind of settled and grounded. So before you go to take any action, like do those things and then start broadcasting the frequencies of we have like so we have prompts for those as well in the
Yep.
boards and create a Cepheid playlist and have that running and then go do your work and then do that mind sync. It'll shift like
Okay.
you can have freedom from other people's opinions.
Okay.
So
Honey, I have a request. Well, I
yeah.
have a comment and I have a request. People are joining the Telegram testimonies. Yay, happy to have
Oh,
you. But also, can you be a contributor? You're not just there to watch and read. Please, when you do something great out there in the field, please contribute. I just think we all feed into that beautifully. And because just like our business story or our Solex getting started story, your testimonies are going to resonate with somebody that maybe people on our team haven't done that kind of work yet. They haven't worked on maybe cystic fibrosis or something, but you have. And then my comment for Jess, I don't know what scenario you're talking about. I know in public forums it's a little, it can get weird because people are just mean in public forums. But I might engage very little with that for the most part because I think people who are rude don't deserve any response at all. But if they seem like, I'm really interested in this, but it's the internet. People are scared, like, and how do I know this is real? You can say, well, just reach out to me. If there's any testimony that really moves you, I can probably find that person. That's a real person. I can find them for you. So that kind of shuts that down too. It's like, well, is there any particular one that you want to know about? I can see if I can get that person to talk to you. And I think that just would, if you said that publicly, that would shut down any naysayers because they're like, oh, I guess she's going to come with the goods then.
Okay, thanks.
That's
Mhm.
great.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Um, what are you
Hey, Leslie, we cannot hear you at all. Can you put your
play
question
in
in the chat?
Lachelle's group, or would we be able to find it somewhere?
You're gonna have to type your question.
Okay.
That was really
Sorry.
garbled.
Okay.
Hey, Leslie, maybe just stop running video. Your internet might be able to, we can hear you that way, maybe.
Okay, let me know.
Oh, that's much better.
Is it better? Yeah, I was just asking if you were going to post this replay in Lachelle's group. This was so good.
Yeah, I'm gonna put the video. I'm gonna put the video in our leadership. So we have a leadership WhatsApp group. So I'm gonna post the video in that group so that everybody has access to this.
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is fantastic.
Yeah, well, everyone's story is needed. Like Lachelle's doing it tomorrow night at 7:30. Mark your calendar every Monday night.
Hey, Connie,
I
that
think
PDF is really helpful. Thanks for sharing that. That boils us down into something you can really use. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Connie, am I right that they plan on doing it a minimum of 20 weeks and maybe even longer? Because so there were 20 platinum and above at the leadership conference, but that doesn't mean along the way that other leaders who could not get there aren't going to pick up on this training and do their own and be able to be a part of that too. So this could theoretically be an every Monday night opportunity to listen in or catch it later at least and store these up maybe under a file like this story was about this and this story is about that. Keep yourself a menu of things so that you can go in and grab those links later. Did that make sense of how you would do that?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
And then I think Jackie might have had a question. I know when maybe.
There we go. Trying to figure it out. I was just going to comment that number one, I appreciate what I was privy to hear, but just to admit that I would greatly benefit from what you're suggesting because I tend to do the vomit and tell people way too much and not have it organized instead of I've been living under more is better when less is actually better and there's a space for people to think about what I've said or to ask questions of them and allow that participation that you were talking about. So I'm excited to step in and do some work on my pitch. That's all.
Yeah, I can't wait to see everyone's videos. And if you need help with that, let me know. And I can get on Zoom with you and we can make a video on Zoom for you to get the recording if you need support with that. Any other questions? Ideas?
I have a quick one. I wondered, is there like a testimonials list anywhere that anybody's kind of collaborated? I mean, I know there's been tons in the Telegram, but just like some of the things that Steve just said and some of the things that I know that I've seen, it'd be awesome to have like a huge sampling of different testimonials that you could relate to someone that you're talking about, you know.
So I don't know how Telegram works, so I'm gonna have Wendy talk to that. What I do know is how the Facebook group works, and there is a little magnifier in there so that you can put in whatever your
Mm-hmm.
thing is, and then you can that's how I find testimonials. And then actually I'm gonna teach you something else. So there's a method, I call it eight, is not mine. I just learned it. It's called ATM. And we know we go to the ATM to what? Get money, right?
Mm.
So ATM stands for add, tag, message. So if you're looking for, if you, let's say, that Jamie, that you have somebody that's just dealing with massive headaches. So you could go into the Facebook group, type in headaches, find a testimonial where it's relevant, and you're gonna, so first of all, you're gonna add them to the group. That's the add. T is then in the comments, you're gonna tag them. So if you don't know how to tag on Facebook, you just do the little at symbol and then put their name in an autofill, so that you're tagging them, AT, and then say, hey, Jamie, I know you were struggling with headaches. I think you'll appreciate this testimonial. And then you're going to go into either Messenger
Okay.
or text messaging and send the message saying, hey, I just read something, thought of you, look for it. And with Facebook, you could even take there's an address, you'll get the link for the actual testimonial and put that in the message. So that's ATM. So that's one way I use testimonials also is the ATM method. So, and
Okay.
you want to talk to, is there a search feature in the Telegram group that you could search for topics?
Well, let me see. What I was doing was I went in there and I was doing like, you can do a copy and paste. So like if you wanted to build something, you could pull them out, put them on a Word document and title it under a particular heading. Subject matter. I mean, so the answer is no, it's not already created, but you could create that way. And then, so the way you were asking, Connie, is to do a search.
Yeah, there's a search in the Telegram. I just looked, ladies.
Okay,
I
Yeah.
thank you.
know there is.
For
So
our group.
when
You
I
can search
set,
in our group.
well, that's what I'm trying to figure out if it's different. I know okay, Telegram's different. One is called a channel and one is called, I think, a page. So I believe when you do public, it's called a channel. And then when you do private, it's called a page. So I know in our page, we can do a search for a word. I'm trying to figure out if we can do it in a channel. So I'll just have to work on that.
Yeah, I see where you can search in Telegram. Yeah, if you just go to our group and then the AO scan testimonials, I'm sorry, in Telegram, and then you click on the three dots, you can actually search. So I just like search for headache and it brought up 8 different posts that had the word headache in it. So yeah,
Okay,
that's
good. I've never tried it. So good. All right.
Yeah,
yeah.
and then you could reply to that post. I would just hit reply and then
Mm,
tag that person there.
okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I was thinking more of like a spreadsheet too. Be fun to
That's way,
collect
Want to
all
make
that is way too
different.
much.
it?
That is way too much
Awesome.
work. If you would like to do that, that is something I will absolutely not be doing.
I know, right?
Because how do
But
you
we
keep up
would
with
love it
that?
if you did it and shared
How
it.
do you keep up with that? Just search.
Oh yeah, I don't
That'd
know.
be,
I don't know. Yeah.
that'd be hard. Yeah.
Definitely using hashtags and different things, could help too. But
Now let me ask you, Jamie, when you pulled that up, did it bundle them all together?
so it did it kind of like when you're in a Word document and you search for a word and it says there's 32 of them and you can just hit the down arrow and it'll just skip to each post that had that word in it.
So I could kind of see grabbing those and putting them over in a Word document and sending
Hmm.
it to the person and saying, hey, listen, we've got hundreds of testimonies, but I did a search for headaches and here's the ones I pulled out for AO scan regarding headaches. That
Yeah,
will certainly speak to somebody, right? Eight testimonies on headaches. Yeah,
yeah, yeah. Cool. Thanks.
sure. All right. Well, gosh, Connie, we actually finished before 8:30.
I know. Look at that. Look at us.
Amazing. Look
It's
at
a
you.
miracle. It's a country miracle.
Well, thanks again for another fabulous training, and we hope everybody can get on tomorrow night and get the very first. Is I assume Lachelle's using the speak method on this, Connie?
Oh, do you know what? I don't know. She's such a powerful
Okay.
speaker.
She's a powerful speaker anyway, so it'll be great no matter what. But I'm just curious if she is aware of the speak. So anyway, yeah, it'll be great.
Yes.
See you guys there.